Hello students. In the last video, you have seen the reforms that were taken by the government since 2015. One of the very important economic reform introduced by the government is GST. This GST, it is Goods and Services Tax. It is a comprehensive, multi-stage, destination-based tax that is levied on every value addition. Now, question arises that it has got so many technical terms in it. Technicality is there. That is comprehensive. What do you mean by comprehensive? Multi-stage. What is it? Destination-based tax, and all the more on the every value addition. So let us understand it in a better way by describing these terms used in the definition of GST. So the first one is comprehensive. Comprehensive means instead of many tax, single tax system was introduced. That is, only one tax has to be imposed instead of many other taxes. Then second is multi-stage. Multi-stage means on various stages of production, there are multiple hands. In the supply chain, there are multiple hands that are involved in the supply of the commodity. So in that process, there's so many stages coming up, and that stages are considered, but tax is not imposed on that. The tax is imposed only on the last stage. That is the stage when the commodity is passed to the ultimate consumer. So that is destination actually. Destination based means the tax is levied not on the various stages of production, but it is imposed when finally that commodity is transferred from producer to the consumer, that is for the end use of that particular commodity. So tax is imposed there. Say for example, a commodity is manufactured at Maharashtra and it is sold in Tamil Nadu, then the tax will be uh, levied in Tamil Nadu because ultimately it is sold in that area. Now last is value addition, that is tax is levied on each stage of final sale. That means if a commodity is purchased in the form of raw material and the commodity is then value addition is given, like the wheat and sugar is added and it is given a new product as baked product in the form of, say, suppose sweet bread, then that is your final product, but only when it is transferred to the producer. So during the conversion of wheat and sugar into a bread, whatever value addition is being carried out, so tax is imposed on that. So these are the various aspects that are covered under the definition of GST. And this GST was introduced in the month of July 2017. And the objective behind imposing this tax system is to eliminate multiple tax. That is, there were so many other taxes previously. You might be knowing, like your sales tax, your VAT, and other taxes, so that all were removed. Next is overall tax burden need to be reduced. The purpose behind, the objective behind was to reduce the tax burden on, and ultimately the tax burden lies on the consumer, so that need to be reduced. Next is to boost up economic growth. In the multiple tax system, many people, they used to um, uh, avoid submitting their taxes. So the ultimate effect was on the economic growth. So giving the single tax system all over the country, the benefit was only shared by the government in that case. and thus the achievement of economic growth. Last is to improve the tax procedure. Earlier, the tax procedure had various loopholes and complicated processes. So that was simplified in such a manner that each and every person, whosoever is responsible for the tax payment, can make the tax payment very easily. So these were the various objectives. Now the components. The components of GST included three types. That is, the first one is CGST, that is collected by the central government on an intrastate sale of the commodities, goods and services, that is within the state. Then comes your SGST, that is, it is the tax collected by the state government on the intra sale, that is, the commodities are sold within its own state. The last one is IGST, that is, this is the tax collected by both by the central government on the interstate sales, that is between the two states. So thus there are three types of taxes. One is CGST, the other one is SGST, and the third one is IGST. Now coming to the salient features of the GST. The salient feature included single comprehensive indirect tax on the supply of goods. The motto was one tax, one market, one nation, to remove the confusions related to multiple tax system and the procedural problems. Next is replace large number of taxes. Yes, large number of taxes were totally removed and one single tax was imposed in the name of GST. 5 standard rates were applied all over the country so that there may not be any variation in the tax rates in different states. The 5 standard rates are 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. This was imposed on the basis of the type of good and the category to which they belong to. Next is petroleum products were exempted. I mean, at present, or for the present time period, petroleum products were not kept under the GST. Last is tax on value addition of each stage of supply. That means value addition of each stage of supply, the tax is imposed on the value addition of each stage, and the benefit of that, of tax paid once at that stage, is carried over in the next stage, thus making it very, very smooth and comfortable to make it understand that there may not be any overlapping in the tax payment on the various stages of supply of goods and services. Now comes benefits of GST. Benefits of GST included that it facilitated free movement of goods and services and created a common market in the country. I mean, all over the country, there is a common rate. So wherever you go, maybe Delhi, maybe Maharashtra, maybe, so you will find the same kind of rates applied. Why? Because the rate taxes are same. Tax rates are same for on the different commodities. There tax rate slabs are same applied all over the country. Next is reduced transaction cost and cascading effect of various taxes on the consumer. I mean, whatever cost was imposed on the transaction and the ultimate effect of taxes was simply passed on to the consumers. So the consumer ultimately were not aware that where from and in what form the taxes will pour on them. So that effect has been reduced. Now the consumer know that he has to pay this much tax and he will be paying that. But because of the multiple taxes earlier, the consumer were charged with different taxes. So the consumer might not be knowing that which kind of tax and why he's paying for the particular commodity. Next is expanded tax base. Now base has been expanded. That means many other products and many other people are brought into the category of taxpayers. Introduced higher transparency in the tax system. Now it's very clear, and everybody knows what is happening and what rate is uh, applied and how he has to pay, or how much he has to pay. Tax complaints will be easier. Easier tax payment procedures. And last, GDP is expected to rise by about 2%. This is the estimated rate of rise in the GDP due to the GST, that is 2%. So these are the various benefits and the salient features of GST, and this is a very important reform introduced by the government in the economic reforms category. Thank you.